my general observation is people are using AI without knowing the legal consequences attached to it.
Do you think that there is a need of a community of general counsels or in-house counsels in India?
It is continuously evolving process. So, like I said, now I have been into this profession for last 18 years, and when I initially started, uh, it was like everything was through offline mode.
What exactly is uh, AI policy and how it is different than the normal typical data privacy policy or any other tech policy?
So we are getting that. So the starting point should be basically carrying out the gap assessment. Where do we actually stand on AI? Because if you see, in India there is no dedicated law that takes care of AI.
I think you were mentioning about the fact that you were asked to move to Nagpur
Nagpur,
and then you
correct, correct.
enjoyed being there.
Correct, correct. Yeah. So like it was on work front, it was great experience because at the age of 23, I was having end-to-end exposure for legal, compliance, HR, admin, all four functions. But then somehow I always wanted to come back to Pune. That was like my preferred location. So I just and then this opportunity came through reference. So one of my ex-managers, the Kirloskar brother, he referred me for this particular opportunity, and that's how my journey as a tech lawyer started. So while I was with Tech Mahindra only for 15 months, but I think whatever IT contracting I have learned, that was like very crucial period because at that point of time it was quite a small team with only two of us were supporting the US geography client contracts, and like though I was overburdened, I would say at that point of time, but then ultimately it turned out to be a great learning with Tech Mahindra. And because I had this background of working with KPL, and I was not just handling contracts, but I was taking care of other things like litigation, then compliance, employee issues, everything. Was somewhere not clear uh, if I should be going for a broader role. I can just stick to contracting. And then again, through one of my other ex-manager, the second opportunity for this Harbinger that came in my way. And that was like a solo contributor role. So I was going to be responsible for everything, for customer contracts, vendor contracts, HR issues, IP, and then you know uh, basically anything and everything that falls under legal ambit. So I was reporting to a CFO there, and I spent good like close to 5 years there. And I would say the CFO there was one of the best managers that I had till now, because he knew my strengths and weaknesses very well, and he was not a micromanager. So he was like, you know, you go and handle everything on your own. I know where to pitch. So I got exposure to interact with, board of directors. I was directly interacting with CEO, helping them taking decision. And I think that ultimately helped building that confidence in, myself. And then I was ready to take over the mid senior level roles in different organizations. So Harbinger was like 700-800 people organization. So I thought, okay, I'm now ready to again join bigger organizations and taking similar role. And that's where this opportunity with Persistent Limited came in. So, fortunately with me, I have got different roles in different organization, and ultimately that helped me to have experience on in entire gamut of the legal areas that we have. So in Persistent, I was primarily taking care of product related contracts, and I was also
Mhm.
actively involved in mergers and acquisitions related activities. So
Okay.
I spent good 3.5 years there before I joined Fujitsu. So Fujitsu was the first organization where I joined like at comparatively mid senior level role, and then ultimately I stepped into the leadership role in Fujitsu. So I was leading a large team there, so it was like almost 10 to 11 people were directly under my hierarchy, and indirectly I was having team of 20 odd people under me. So it was great learning. Like I was primarily like I was not involved into daily operations, so I had team managing customer contracts, vendor contracts, compliances, litigation, but I was more into managing those things and basically driving strategic projects. So I was involved in driving and getting this PIMS. If you are aware, it is Privacy Information Management System certification. There was export control system related projects and like multiple other projects I worked upon throughout my tenure with Fujitsu. So it was like proper MNC with having operations across multiple countries. So I was involved in many cross-border projects as well. So overall, it was good learning. And then again, the current organization where I'm working, this opportunity also came through one of my ex managers at Techem. So this was like proper head of legal and compliance level role, because every lawyer ultimately in-house lawyer ultimately has objective to reach to that stage where he is heading legal and
Hmm.
compliance function, and ultimately then gets him into the GC role. So yeah, I think that's where I land into this opportunity, and now since last 1 year I'm doing quite well here. So I'm having like team managing customer contracts for services, for products, and there are vendor contracts, employee issues, data protection, AI, everything basically I'm taking care of with the support of my team. So I would say overall, the best thing that has happened to me is throughout my 17, 18 years of experience, I got best mentors, managers, and team that I was leading and my colleagues. I think everything, like all of them, they have contributed in, shaping my career. And that's how, like, I have reached this stage is what I would say.
Interesting. Interesting. Very, very beautifully explained. So you emphasize the importance of, your mentors who turned out to be your managers as well, and who were the ones who gave you the opportunities, the openings, the references, and showed you the path that, okay, this is what you can do next, Onkar. But tell me, do you think that there is a need of a community of general counsels or in-house counsels in India where people can actually share all of those things, find mentors for each other, exchange networking opportunities, and all of these in India? I don't think so. There is one common platform where people are actually discussing the core things. Uh, have you come across any, or do you even feel a need of this in India or not?
I would say it is continuously evolving process. So, like I said, now I have been into this profession for last 18 years, and when I initially started, uh, it was like everything was through offline mode. So there was not even a Naukri. Nowadays, at least we see there are a lot of communities or LinkedIn, or there are so many groups created on WhatsApp, wherein basically people are sharing their knowledge, and then there will be few sponsored events. Those will happen wherein people actually get to communicate and network with each other, because uh, so I would say it is evolving, and probably there is still a scope to take it to the next level, because maybe at the beginning of the career you will get some opportunities through Naukri and everything, but once you reach to a certain level, I think it is your network that is going to help you to take to the next bigger opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, people say your network is your net worth. So
Yeah, that's
that's true.
absolutely correct.
Nice. So, Ankar, in your current role, you mentioned about AI and things around that as well. Can you help me understand what exactly is uh, AI policy and how it is different than the normal, typical data privacy policy or any other tech policy which one would be drafting?
Okay. So, see, like we have just started working on the AI related stuff. So it is like
Hmm.
we are still at the assessment stage. So we are getting that. So the starting point should be basically carrying out the gap assessment. Where do we actually stand on
Hmm.
AI? Because if you see in India, there is no dedicated law that takes care of
Yeah.
AI, and I think that is not uh, the strategy as well. So I don't think India would be coming up with specific AI law. They would be amending whatever are the actual core laws. Like there is law
Hmm.
for IP, there will be law for data protection. So how those needs to be amended, or basically those core legislation should take
Yeah.
care of AI is what is the strategy. So right now we are at the gap assessment phase, wherein we are basically seeing where do we stand when it comes to usage of AI for internal purposes for customers, or maybe how our vendors are using it.
Hmm.
So I think once we get to know what is the exact road path, probably the starting point would be to develop the policy. Because right now my general observation is people are using AI without knowing the legal consequences attached to it. Because obviously AI is
Correct.
making work easier, but then you need to know like what kind of information you are sharing with these models and how it is ultimately getting used, and whether your customers are aware of how you are using AI. Because most of the customer, they will expect you to sign some kind of addendum if you are using AI, and they will basically held you responsible for whatever input AI that you are giving. And
Hmm.
so basically it is important that customer is aware how you are using AI, what kind of contribution you are making for the input prompts that you are giving, how the output is coming, and
Hmm.
then what policies you have in place to ensure that those are not infringing. So I would say it is at a very nascent stage, though. On document part,
Okay.
every entity will try to ensure that their interest is getting protected, but on ground how it is happening, I think that only time will tell. And I will say it is like still evolving. India is still at, you know, have not reached to that maturity level, is what I feel.
Hmm. Okay. So you're saying that India has not reached to the maturity level, and with respect to the challenges, people are still not aware about what AI brings to the table. I mean, the legal side of challenges. I mean, they are just using it without realizing how much of a risk they are getting exposed to.
Uh, so I would say it obviously differs from organizations to organizations. Like MNCs and bigger organizations, they are more careful. Like, they would ensure that they have proper policies in place before actually getting into it. But not every organization will have that kind of, what I can say, economic or monetary cushioning to invest first and then start using it. Because see, like somewhere everyone is aware that AI is going to cut down the cost. So, and they don't want to lag behind in using AI. But I, I think there is a need that organizations need to ensure that there is a proper governance framework that is introduced around AI. So when I said maturity level, I would say it is not particularly about India. It would be about most of the countries. But yeah, I mean, see, like even if you take example of data protection, like it started in sometime in 2008 when 18 when GDPR came in 2016, sorry. And then every country, like most of the countries followed. Similarly, EU has come up with this AI
AI
legislation, and
Act.
now
Yeah.
probably most of the countries will start reaching that stage. So for data protection, we have started seeing those claims recently, probably in last couple of years.
Hmm.
So I'm expecting similar thing will happen. Right now,
Okay.
people are using AI. We have not seen, what I can say.
Any
There would
conflicts?
be, yeah. So there would be probably a few claims, but there is not
Hmm.
much buzz around, claims coming around for AI. So yeah, it is, I think, wait and watch kind of situation.
Interesting. Wait and watch. What's your take on IP? How important is IP for a tech company, according to you?
So IP, I would say it is. So see, I'll just state that IP was never my dedicated area in any of the organizations. So I have always worked on general profile where IP was one of my work areas. But yeah, I would say IP is definitely one of the most important thing, at least for IT industry. So it is IP and people. I think these two are the main resources for any IT organization. And I would say, so I'll just explain you with an example. So, as you know, typical service organizations, I have worked with most of the organizations that I have worked with were into services. So it is very important how you draft your contracts. So if you are providing services to any particular customer, how you are identifying what is going to be foreground IP, because whatever software or services you are providing, ultimately customer will own it. Correct. So when you are creating any IP for them, you need to be clear that what is that foreground IP. And if you have some IP in place which you are using for providing those services, which ideally would fall under the category of background IP, what kind of rights you are giving to the customer. So usually it should be like limited, non-exclusive, non-transferable right. And customers should be using that IP only in conjunction with the product that is being delivered. So they should not just use it in isolation or do some kind of reverse engineering to just see what is the source code. So I think your contracts are the most important thing to protect your IP. And secondly, I would say it is also important for organizations, like when they have some IP in place, how they want to monetize that particular IP. So it could be either by using that IP in the backend for providing services, or it could be through doing the actual licensing, or maybe as a SaaS. So whether you want to use your IP and commercially exploit it, or you just want to use it in the backend, I think it also. So one of the factor is what's the IP strategy for your particular organization. And secondly, I would say, how mature is the IP? Because if when you are using it in the backend for services, and even if there is some issue, I think it's ultimately your team that is tackling those issues in the backend, and probably customer, because and in the backend customer knows that I'm not paying for this IP, but I am paying for the product that I'm getting. But when you are actually providing it on a license basis, you have to be very thorough with what kind of issues probably could come in, because there would be specific SLAs that would be attached to any IP related issues. So yeah, I think depending upon your strategy and maturity level, company should decide IP monetization strategies.
Hmm. Interesting take. So you discussed about foreground ground IP and the background IP and how important it is to identify those itself, because that becomes sometimes a deal breaker in the contracts as well, right? And in fact, so if I go back to your previous stint where you worked with Persistent, and you said the M&A was also part of your role, what were the things which you looked at M&A like? For a successful M&A, what are the top five things which are non-negotiables?
Mm, okay, so see, I like before going there, I would just tell you how the structure was there. So in Persistent, we
Hmm.
had basically dedicated M&A team, which was
Okay.
actually taking care of end-to-end M&A, and they were licensing with different stakeholders. It could be delivery, HR, finance, legal, based on the requirement. And I was one of the stakeholders from legal side. So my role was primarily to support the due diligence, and obviously law firms would be there to support on each of these activities. So my role was to support on the due diligence. So that could be on agreements part or litigation parts, how your contracts are structured. And the key parameters there would be typically what kind of liabilities the target company has accepted through contracts, whether they have committed to any kind of uncapped liabilities, and if yes, then what instances. So usually you will see that for IP infringement, any company uh, typically would agree for higher level of liability or uncapped liability, because I think that's the core of business. But then when that company has accepted that uncapped liability for IP, how robust is their IP? Like whether that company has obtained proper registration for their IP. I think that's one of the important factor because, and one more thing I would say, it also depends on the organization that is acquiring, what is their ultimate objective, whether their focus, like primary focus is IP or resources. Because if their focus is IP, they will obviously see if IP is properly registered, and ultimately if they want to monetize on that IP, what kind of pipeline they have. And so IP, I would say, should be sufficiently protected. And uh, I mean, you should be having governance around IP, that even if there is tomorrow there is a claim from, say, IT giants or bigger companies, you should be confident enough to defend that claim, because the cost that is involved in defending any IP claim is like humongous. And I mean, in some situations it could be as high as you would just need to close down your business. So I think that's the power that any IP carries. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Yes, yes, of course. I mean, IP litigations can go into multi-million dollars easily. I mean, they start from the million itself. So yes, that's very precisely put.
I was just saying, so along with law, it is also important that you engage a proper law firm or IP firm who is expertise, who carries expertise in this, so you actually get to understand what are the risk and rewards that are involved in this particular IP.
Yes, precisely. Yes, absolutely. So, Onkar, tell me one thing. You both the parents are lawyers, and they helped you to understand how important law is, and you started your career in law, and that too all in house. Now it's been almost 17 and plus years serving the profession. What lies ahead? What do you look up to? What's next for Onkar in your mind?
Yeah. So, see, usually what I have been following is, like I said, every in-house lawyer will have a dedicated path. So obviously, everyone will have some preferences. Some like I have seen people who actually just want to take it easy and they would be comfortable in their role. But yeah, so right now I'm heading the legal and compliance function. So obviously, I would want to spend substantial time in this role, so that I'm, what I can say, I'm prepared to take up the next role of general counsel. So it could be in this organization or could be in the next organization. Because usually, how it works is, when you are at the early stages of your career, your promotions and role change will typically happen based on what individual skill sets you have, and probably there would be time frame. If you are spending some, say, years in the organization, you would be eligible for next role. But once you reach to that seniority, I think it's not that you will take up the next role and then you will start preparing for that particular role. So for me, I think since the next role is becoming general counsel for some organization, I am preparing myself so that when I step into that role, like I'm actually justifying that role. So it's actually stabilizing into this role and at the same time preparing for the next role.
Interesting. How do you keep yourself sane?
I think it's work only primarily, because I was fortunate enough to get the work that is quite interesting, and that happened throughout my corporate journey. So I think it's work, more work, diversified work, interesting work that is keeping me sane. And at the same time, I also keep on upskilling myself. So whenever there are new things that are coming in, like in data, I carry a couple of certifications from IIPP, and then there was one certification that I completed recently in AI. So I think keeping myself updated with these new technology related law, that is something which keeps my interest live in this profession.
Okay. If you were to start your career afresh into any other field today, what would that be?
in any other field? In
Yeah,
any other
you
field
can't
or
pick
in
law
this field
now.
only?
No, no, in any other
Okay.
field.
Okay. Probably it would be, where it all started. So I could be probably computer engineer is what I feel. And now second option I have realized over the period of time could be into financial investment advisory, because I think that is also one area which I find quite interesting. But then I never regret, because what decision I have taken, because the journey has been quite rewarding. And every lawyer will carry some weightage in society as well. So when you are with people, they look at you from different angle. They'll have some level of respect, and I think that is applicable for every other profession. It could be for CA, CS, doctor. But yeah, so I don't regret taking that decision, and I know there is an interesting journey that is ahead of me.
Interesting. So, what are those perks of being a lawyer, or like what do I say? Some perks which you get in the society. For example, what you said is if you are in a social gathering, people will look at you with different respect altogether because you are a lawyer. So, what are such perks which you enjoy being a lawyer?
I would say the major perk, I won't say actually it is perk, but you see, law is like it's an ocean. So, whenever you're interacting with people and when they get to know that you are lawyer, everybody will have some there,
Some queries, right? They'll come to
query
you.
that how it needs to be handled. Currently I am in this particular situation, how I need to
Hmm.
address. So at times you don't have a ready answer available for all these things,
Right.
and then you tend to go back and actually do some research and advise that people. So I think it helps you to keep yourself uh, updated on a variety of what I can say areas on legal. So like I'm uh, I'll just give you I tell you about one instance that happened recently. So I was staying in Balewadi for 1 year, and it was like a new project and newly formed society. And like few of my friends there, they were aware that I'm a lawyer, and then this society was formed. So everybody was like behind me that you be a chairman for this particular society. And then I said no, like based on my current responsibility, I may not be able to justify this role, I may not be able to give proper time. But then for every other issue, they were like, okay, what is your legal opinion on this particular thing? Now we have to do this thing, what should we what we should be doing. So yeah, I think those are kind of situations which every lawyer would come across. Even your relatives, if they have some kind of family issues, they would consult
Yeah.
you. Some kind of property issues, they'll come to you. So yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. Lovely. So, Onkar, before we close the session, I would love to ask you one simple question. What message would you like to give a younger Onkar who's 15 years old, clueless about the world, uh, but ready to, of course, win the world? So, what would you give a message to that
Mhm.
Onkar?
So uh, I would say you know like there are three four things that every freshly graduated lawyer should keep in mind. And one is upskilling. Like you need to stay relevant, like whatever updates are happening around you, particularly on basically on law front. It is your responsibility to keep your management and important stakeholders aware about what actually it means to the organization, and what are the consequences if it is basically there are some violations. So I think it is very important that you are updated and you are keeping your important stakeholders updated. Secondly, I would see, and like I said previously as well, uh, while you are doing your roles and responsibilities, whatever are assigned to you, it is equally important that you observe what roles and responsibilities are being performed by your manager. because your ultimate objective should be how you are freeing up the bandwidth of your manager, and you are preparing yourself so that you are moved into that role, and at the same time you are enabling your seniors to climb up the ladder. So I think that's how the progress or entire pyramid moves, is what I feel. And then yeah, building network is one of the most important thing, because after one point of time the opportunities will always come through network. Yeah, I think yeah, okay, one more thing I would say, and that's what I have learned in my previous organization, is the experience that you are giving to your customers. So like, whenever you're coming across any situation, problem, probably the answer could be yes, you may be giving that solution to business. At times it could be no, like you may have to take stand that particular thing cannot be done. But throughout this process, what kind of experience you are giving to your stakeholder, because ultimately the situation is going to be one of correct, but what he or she will carry with him is the experience that you have given to him. So I think customer experience is something you should always focus on. So there is this typical situation that every in-house lawyer will face, and I have been into this situation many a times during my early stage of career. So whenever there is a business contract,
Mhm.
business will expect from you that you revert on that contract within half an hour, 1 hour, or maybe at the max,
Immediately.
yeah, a same day.
Yeah.
And then when that contract is with customer for review, and probably it will be there for a month's time as well, and then again when it is coming back to you, suddenly it becomes urgent. So
Right.
hence people tend to think, and particularly at junior level, why it is working so. But then I think you need to step into your, what I can say, salesperson shoes, because even getting that response after 1 month of time probably has resulted after hundreds of follow-ups from a salesperson. So I think your ultimate objective should be to enable business, not to get into those kind of distractions. Why it becomes always important when it is with me and not with the customer. So I think focus should be on enabling the business by providing what is required.
Thank you so much for sharing that.